Good morning. I woke up feeling just like this. Sped
Yeah.
up, so fresh, ready to spit. Yeah. I woke up out of bed, lyrics
What's going
already
on?
in
What's
my
going on?
hand.
What's going
So
on?
focused on the test, I beat the flu with
Yeah.
no man.
Test, test, test,
It's in
test.
the jeans, I guess. Y'all worried I'm stressed. Time to get down to business, so I built
Alright.
this little desk so I can
Let's
bang out
see
beats a
now.
few feet from where I sleep. Got the books off the floor,
Just
nice
logging
people hit
into
read. I
YouTube.
suggest you mark it down, so next time we talk and laugh. You ain't looking at me strange, you know what I be talking about. Whether it's art or style, my heart and triple is now. The scribble is
Alright.
how we live today, gone in a minute. Not a cynic nor a snake. I call it as I see it, smoothing
Alright,
out
that's
the
the wrong
lyrical
one.
semen. It came in a dream, man. But I'm awake, ejaculating over the bass.
Alright, there
What's
we
all
are.
I'm asking? How did that taste?
Alright, we live. There we go. Alright. Rhyming. What up, Sly Kid 139? Where you from? I'm gonna ask this every time. In fact, do I got it? I'm gonna make a. Hey, what up, Mr. Wilson? Where's my pen at? Oh, it's in my pocket. Nope, it's not even in my pocket. Excuse me, I need to get a pen. South Carolina. All right, I'll be right back. Let's get some backtrack music on
Good
here.
morning.
Good morning.
I woke up feeling just like this. Sped up, so fresh, ready to spit. Yeah. I woke up out of bed, lyrics already in my head. So focused on the test, I beat the flu with no meds. It's in the genes, I guess. Y'all worried I'm stressed. Time to get down to business, so I built this little desk so I can bang out beats a few feet from where I sleep. Got the books on the floor,
All right,
nice
we
people hit
back.
read. I suggest you mark it down. So next
All right, so what I want to do is, um, everyone, I want to put all the states. I'm trying to get like 50 states and 100 countries and all that shit. So we're gonna write these down, stick them on the wall. All right, so we got South Carolina. South Carolina. All right. And we got Massachusetts. Man, man, I can't write for shit. Massa, we're gonna have to massacre this right here. Massachusetts. Actually, let me put the names that way I can remember faces, or at least names. Andrew Wilson. That's all your government and shit. We'll just keep it that way. All right, and you Sly. Bam. All right. Uh, so yeah, quarantine, man. It's crazy, 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 crazy. So damn, it's hot in here now. Shit, man, this is like so. I wish I had a clap on. Clap on. We'll just sweat. It's all the way over there. All right, I'm gonna get that. All right. I think we got everything. We got our pen, check. We got our notepad, check. We got our quarantine files, check. We turned off the heat, check. We got some inspirational quotes in the background, check. We all good to go. All right, so I think this is the format we're gonna do for this. You know, I noticed. Yeah, I was on. I was doing some Instagram things with my boy yesterday, and I noticed I'd be waving my hands like this. It's even worse when I be rapping. Cause how the hell can you just be sitting there? I get up on the microphone and hit people. It's weird. But that's how I talk normally when I'm not doing anything like this. Yes, my name is Matthew and I make videos. They look at me like I'm crazy. So yeah, um, I woke up this morning, right? And this was the first thought that floated to my subconscious. It was now it's gone. It was your strengths are not your weakness. Because yeah, your strengths are not your weakness. Of course, that makes sense, right? But have you ever considered doing an interview, the back experience, doing an interview with black experience? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But let me before I get my. All right. So your strength is not your weakness, meaning like I don't smoke, I don't drink, and for some reason I can't like quarantine times. I can't not do anything. Like I mean, of course, music is my main, so I'm gonna do music and read and just like for me to just sit there and be bored, that is weird. It's like I go to bed early so I could wake up early and do shit. Like for me to wake up late, like, and I was thinking because I'm talking to a lot of people and like, yeah, we're just kind of chilling, doing nothing, and I felt weird because I don't know how. Don't get me wrong. I watched 10 movies. I watched Aladdin. I watched Zombieland. I think I mentioned that in the last video. Um, Maleficent, Maleficent, whatever that one with Anne. I watched the other Will Smith movie, Gemini Man. So anyway, I watched like 10 movies. I'm watching movies, and I'm watching another zombie movie on Netflix. So it's not like I'm just sitting around working. But yeah, I don't know. Not being productive is weird to me, and I was kind of I don't know. It's hard to relate. Like I feel bad when I'm talking to people and they be like, "Yeah, so what did you do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got up at 6 o'clock and I was just working on this and working on that and then working on that." And they're like, "Oh shit, man, you work so." No, it's what else? Anyway, that's my rant. So your strength is not your weakness. So I gotta accept this, embrace it, and this is kind of where this came from. Like since I'm up, let me do something. So I did this. All right, to get your question, Sly. Have I ever considered doing an interview with the Black Experience Japan? I'm not really good at interviewing. I got this thing. Like this is me right now. This is my own space, my own world. When I get on interviews, it's another space. So that's one. Two, I was telling someone the other day. Um, it's a pride thing. Like I'm, nah, it is what it is. So I don't intend on reaching out to him, and saying, "Hey, man, will you interview me?" But if he, but even, well, it goes. So, all right, here's my thing, right? I'm black, as you can see. I'm black. I never wanted this channel or any of my shit to be about being a black guy in Japan. I mean, I am a black guy in Japan, but I never wanted to be, hey, I'm a black guy in Japan, if that makes sense. So I kind of shied away from anything or anyone or any group that's, we're black in Japan. And it's kind of a personal thing. Like, when I got $1 billion, I don't want to be a black billionaire. I just want to be a billionaire who happens to be black with some green in his pocket. Now, I do understand my I, it's kind of like there's this beautiful girl. There's a lot of beautiful. I meet a lot of artists, right? They're beautiful. They're just pow 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 pow, and they'll say this. I want to be known for my rhyming or beat making or whatever. I don't want to be known because I'm a girl. I don't want people to look at me because of my feminine. And it's like, you serious? But I get it. Because again, this is what I'm saying about being black in Japan. I understand you don't want to use that as a crutch. You don't want people to. So it's balance, whatever. So yeah, long story short, I haven't been asked to do it. I don't plan on asking him to do it. I do have a thing about anything related to being black because I don't know, we're people. I mean, coronavirus is, well, we are seeing that more people of color are being affected by the coronavirus, but it's not so much because we're black. it's because of the social economics of being black in the States in America. Health insurance and all that shit. So yeah, but in general, coronavirus is just going through everyone: rich, poor, famous, nobodies. It's coming after all of us. So I hope you guys are being safe and being inside and just not touching your face, which is hard. Like it's like you're standing on this high cliff and like don't look down. The first thing you do is you look down. It's like don't touch your face. But yeah. So yeah, I just been working on music. I try to check in with my mom. I'm not very good at checking in with my mom because I don't know. It's just one of the things I got to work on. But she hit me up. She called me. Historically, or since I've been in Japan, like what? It's like 12 years now. Yeah, it's been that long. I've been here. She never had. Well, technology's changed, but first she had one of the little flip phones, and then she had a da 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 da. So now she got like an Android, and she has some apps, and she uses WhatsApp. So now she could like video call me, and when she calls me, I know there's a problem. So when I saw the missed call, and I was like, I'll just get back to you in the morning. And when I hit her up, actually I never hit my mom up. I hit y'all up. I don't hit my mom. So when I called my mother, she was like, "Yeah, I was worried about you. I didn't hear from you." Da 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 da. And yeah, so I try to just check in. And hopefully this sticks, after the quarantine, I just check in. Because mothers and parents, even friends, people just want to know that you're alive and doing well. I get it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just rambling, but this is our space or our time. So I don't know, let me know what you're doing. Let me know what's up with you guys. And if you're coming in, I'm putting states or places on the wall so I could know. Ramen, I've been watching since 2012. That's crazy, man. 2012. It's crazy. Like I don't even watch the movies from back in the day, but I remember I was a crazy. I don't know. My views of shit changed so much. Like shit, this room. There's only one room. I got a second room. I've never been in a space like this where I can throw all the shit to this side to have a clean wall on this side. Been reading and watching movies. What you reading? I'm reading Stop Doing That Shit Part 2. I think it's called that. Oh, my phone's over there. But yeah, stop doing that shit or stop doing that fucking shit. I don't know. It's written that way, but it's like every other kind of self help book. And it's the kind of book that most people won't read because it makes you feel bad. Well, it makes me feel bad, but it's saying shit like, so you want to work out, but you're not working out. What the fuck's wrong with you? It is kind of talking like that, and it's like most people, and myself included, like, well, I'm gonna work out um, in 3 weeks when it gets a little warmer outside. We got all these excuses and shit, and he's like right in there. Yeah, you probably just said you want to work out in 3 weeks. Well, did you decide to study Japanese language yet? Jack, nah. Well, how do I say? I mean, you can't see it, but up there, there's like when I get in the mood, I buy these books and all this shit. So I got my grammar books and I got my little electronic dictionary and I got my kanji and all that. But to be honest, it's been sitting up there since been living here. So that's about a year. And I brought it from my other spot, which I think I don't know, learning the language is, yeah. So I'm going to throw out all these excuses. Like that's what the book, excuses. So I'm doing music right now. That's my focus. Yesterday, I woke up at 8 and I sat at the desk over there and I was just making music, practicing for about 8, 9, 10. I mean, I had lunch. I watched some social media shit. And, but just from 8 until 12, then I had two Instagram lives and all that shit. So just music, 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 music. Studying Japanese, I I'm not making time to put it in there because it's not what's important to me at this point in time. So I don't know if that's an excuse. That's me owning it. Yeah. So No, I'm not studying right now, but when I have my moments, I do enjoy learning. But first, I'm going to focus on the music and shit like that. All right, Shogun by James, and I'm about to start a book. You can have an amazing memory. Yo, that's dope. I got two memory books. One is about some dude who went around the world. I'm very particular with the excuses because I get a lot of them. Like I don't know. I don't know. It just own it. At the end of the day, if you're not doing something, it's because you're not doing something. It's not the coronavirus. Like it's crazy. Like right now, most people got to sit in the house. Like that's we're all like equalized on that one. So if you were saying before you don't have time, or you don't have an opportunity to da 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 da, or cha 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 cha, well now you do. And I could guarantee that a lot of the people who are saying that they didn't have time before are not doing anything now, which I don't know. That irritates me, and and that's why I posted some of these quotes on the wall because it's not my. It has nothing to do with me in a sense. I mean, of course, I would like a lot of. I'm not going to get into all that, but I don't know. A world full of productive people would make a productive world. So if people are not being productive, we have an unproductive world, and it bothers me on that kind of level. And then myself, I'm not as productive as I should be, although I am, but I should be more. So it's kind of if other people were productive, it would kind of bounce back at me to be productive, and we could get this like upward spiral. I used that last time. We'd get this internal combustion. Yeah, we can get this cycle back and forth turbines. Oh, you get the what I'm trying to say, but yeah, it's a memory book. So I was reading it. I got up to chapter 3. I forget why I stopped reading it. Guess my memory ain't that good. But actually, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I can't remember. Yeah, my memory. But my adult student is like, yeah, I read books all the time, and he does. And in our lessons, we'd always talk about the books we're reading, and then I would recommend a book, and he would get it, and he would recommend a book, and I would get it, and we talk about it. It was great. So then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read 12 books next year, and he's like, well, I read 24. I'm like, shit, that's like 2 books. So then I made it my thing to read books. Bam, bam, bam. So I read books. Then the next year I did something else. The next year I was doing a 365. So then now I've got these books that I start, and then I just jump to these other books because it's your life. If you want to finish it, whatever. But yeah, I'm just yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, yeah. So I, I, yeah, read the Bible. Yeah. I grew up in a Christian household, so I had the Bible. I never really read the Bible outside of going to church and the pastor preaching the Bible. Then time's weird, but a couple years back, I was teaching a high level student at Apple, the company Apple. And he's like, yeah, he lived in London for like 7 years. So he was all with his little necktie looking like Scooby Doo, that little handkerchief thing and all artsy and all that shit. So anyway, his English was really high level, probably better than mine. So he didn't need help there. And we were just talking one day, and I'm like, yeah, I used to go to church with my dad and, read the Bible. He's like, oh, can you teach me the Bible? I'm like, okay. So then I bought a Bible for him and a Bible for me, one of those translated easy English type Bibles. And then the homework was, all right, you read chapter 1, and then I'll read it, and then we'll come and discuss it. So then I was actually reading the Bible. But the craziest thing happened, like, you know, when you where I come from, when you go to church, the pastor just kind of tells you what he interprets from the Bible, and you just kind of say amen and mm-hmm. You don't really challenge what he's saying because God is talking to him, right? But when I was reading this Bible, and then my student was saying, how comes this happened? And I was like, I don't know. And it was written like in plain English. So it was just a weird thing because I would never ask those questions in, I mean, just certain questions you can ask, but you would always get that, adults or the top down kind of, well, you see, it is what it is, like that. But I couldn't answer his question, so I just kind of, riffed it, like, well, and he's like, wow, that's fucked up, because like the one part where Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah, the man had to kill his son because God said, kill your son. Bop, bring him up on the thing, and bop, and then dude's like, okay, whatever you say. And he's going up there and he's taking his son. He's like, hey, where we going, Dad? He's like, hey, don't worry about it. You'll see when we get there. And he goes up there and he's just like ready to do the thing. And pop. And then God's like, hey, stop. You don't got to do that, but I see you're with me. So my student's asking me this, and he's just like, that's a little fucked up. And I'm just like, faith? But then if you update it to like now, so someone's like, because my pastor, he died, he was killed, murdered, or I guess he could be assassinated. He's the leader of our congregation, Pastor Joe, right? So he died because he was like in this alleyway coming home one day on some Batman shit. He's coming through some alley, and then some dude, some like homeless crazy dude, killed him, stabbed him, check it up. And then when they went to court, this is a true story. I ain't making this up. It's like, what, 30 years ago. The guy said that the rats were talking to him. Like the rats told him to kill my pastor. So then it's just like, maybe he did hear the rats, just like this dude was going to kill his son because he heard the voice. So if you, all the times you hear people doing crazy ass shit and they say, I got a friend, he said, I hear aliens. I can't discount him, but it's kind of weird. But yeah, I even got a religion book, man, because at one point I was just like, I got to understand this. And I'm going through this book, and it's just like, there's so many different religions and facets. And yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just to touch on religion. So a lot of my dad, I was talking to my mom, and he was just like, it was crazy, man. I was what, 12, 8? I think it was the first person I've ever knew that died in real life, or my grandma died. I never met her. I never knew who she was. She's from Jamaica. My mom never talked about her. She'd probably be the grandma that would beat me for breathing because she seemed like a strict book. I don't know it offhand. It was a couple years back, but it's just any regular translated Bible. But there's so many. Like when I went to the shop in Ginza, right? I'm like, all right, because the Ginza shop is next to the Apple shop, so I always pass this store, so I know it's there. So I went there because I know they got a whole bunch of Bibles, and then I go in there. There's like a Bible for kids, because a Bible for this, a Bible for that. It was, I want to say it was King James. It started from King James, but the translation. So even jumping all around the world. So my friends, they're missionaries. So a long time ago, I went to their church because they're like, hey, you want to go to church? I'm like, yeah, I want to. So I go there, and then we're sitting in this little circle, and there's 4 of us, and we had 4 different Bibles, and we start like reading line by line, but every line was different. The interpretations changed. Oh, I meant the name of that book. You got it on religion. I meant the name of the. Oh, I meant the name of that book. You got on. That's I mean, it's in the other room. All right. I don't know if I'm gonna get this thing, but there's this thing that I could like push a button and it's all like do 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 like that. But the reviews have been really bad, and I already bought it once and it didn't work, so I returned it. And Amazon actually sent me a little letter saying, "Why do you return everything? Because you got that policy, son." I didn't say that. I didn't even respond. But they got that. If it's broke or if you don't like it, you can return it. So that's what I do. Plus, in Japan, you can't really return stuff, so I really abuse that. I just buy it from Amazon. So I can. Anyway, let me get that book. Be right back. You just gotta imagine some music. It's gonna sound like dum 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 dum. Just have that humming in there. I know, man. When I came to this spot, right? So I just moved here. It was really sudden because my company, the people who own this thing, whatever, this rental properties, they got all these properties all over Japan, and for whatever reason, they Donald Trumped it up. That's what we're going to start using his name, President. He trumped it up. So they used the wrong equipment, wrong material, or something. So it wasn't safe for like whatever quality. So everyone who lived in those buildings had to move, which is the government's like, that's you got to do that shit. So they sent me a letter in Japanese, and this is, if I studied Japanese, I would know what it said. Most of the people who work at my company, the company rents it through them. So the company was sending them the translated message, but I did it myself. If you're coming out here, try to do everything yourself. Don't. I use this word. Don't fuck with the companies. Just it's. But anyway, so I did my own thing. So they were directly sending me the thing, and it's in Japanese. So I put it in my doesn't really concern me pile. I know, and then my I was living with my girlfriend before that, so she was the last. I put her name and number on the contact, whatever. So they contacted her, and then she contacted me like, "Yo, your company is looking for you." Now I don't know why the hell they don't call me. They got my number. They do speak English, but that's the way they're doing it. So I called them back and like, "Yeah, you gotta move." I'm like, "Okay." Now I heard rumors with the other people, but I thought I was like different. So then they're like, you got to move by the end of, like, this is April 12th. So they're like, you got to move by April 1st. This was last year. There's like the conversation happened in March. So 2 weeks, give or take. So I'm like, okay, if I gotta move, and they said it's on us. We made the mistake, so we will cover the cost and whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, I want to live in I want to live in the Hamptons of Japan, which would be Shibuya for me, or Pongi, and I want to live in the same size building as I'm living in now. I was living way out in the country, so the prices, the economics are different. But like, since it's your fault, I want to live in a high rise with a heated floors and all that good shit. So they're just like, we can't do that, but we can offer you this place. Once I really clean up the house, I'll give you a nice tour. Maybe, I don't know. But it's 2 rooms with these sliding doors that are white. I got these little push pins. I could push things in there. Yeah, yeah. All right, so books. So here's my memory book. It's called The Memory Book, and it's dope. Let's see, did I mark it up? Yeah. I mean, it's been a minute, so I probably got to start back from the beginning. But they did this cool thing, like, actually, I know that's why I stopped reading it, because there's 2 ways to read a book. You could read it and just read it, or you could read it and actually do because they'd be like, all right, now stop reading the book and like do X, Y, Z. I never do that because if I do X, Y, Z, I'm not coming back to the book. Stop your car and so the last thing I was doing was they had this thing. If you want to memorize some sequence, then you should make the sequence meaningful, such as the states, the states in America, right? So you should, so Alabama and then Alaska. So you should make Alabama and Alaska somehow connect. So I was like, Al will bam ya, because he'll ask ya. And in that sequence, you can tell those story. So Al will bam ya because he'll ask ya. And it worked. I was able to do 50, all the states when I memorized it. Well, it, it's your mind. Like, our minds are malleable. For me, it's always going to rhyme because I'm a rhymer. But if you were a cook, maybe it would be more about cooking. Or if you were, it's how your mind works, and it was just amazing because I was able to do that, and just then I made a random list of random shit, just looking around the office. All right, telephone, door. I wrote the list down, and and it works. But then I forget why I stopped. Why I think I was just so happy for that one little trick that I just got on that. All right, then here's another one, Moonwalking with Einstein. It's this random guy who's traveling the world, memorizing shit, languages and stuff. I think. I think yeah, something like that. So it's more of a story. So this is more of like a manual. This is more like a story of memorization. Um, so memory book and moonwalking with Einstein. All right, and then this is the religion book. So this series, uh, the company's DK. Oh, it's called Big Ideas Simply Explained. They got a whole series: history, business, psychology, philosophy, women in history, just random shit. And it's like really, it's like a picture book, like just off the top. This one says, the triumph of good over evil depends on humankind, the battle between good and evil. So it breaks it down like this, and then it has all the religions. So it's kind of chronological, I think. It starts with the first, and it just kind of moves all the way up until like spacey shit. But I like it. It's well, one thing I got from it is there's a grain of sameness in all of it because they're coming from humans, you know? Like if we could somehow extract a religion from a pig, it probably would have a different sense. But if it's a human, it's going to be human based with human like look at our see, oh, I'm just rambling here until something else comes up. So look at like our superheroes, right? They're like us, superheroes or Greek mythology. They're basically humans. How do you say they basically? Because they have human weaknesses, human frailties. Like if you're all powerful, like if you're Thanos, right? You're all Thanos. What the hell are you crying about? Where's all that emotion coming from? Like that's a human thing. Like I don't think a rock is gonna be all like, yeah, man, I've been thinking, I've been. It's a rock. A rock's gonna do rock things. It's gonna roll. It's gonna moss up. It's gonna crumble, pebble. Like, but humans, they're built in there. Like Superman is like the most powerful character, one of them, right? So that means he could like blink and probably kill someone with his blink, blink, blink. But he's all like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody because because it's a human. A human wrote it, or even I put it this way, right? I'm what do you call it? You take any movie, it always has like that human aspect to it because we're human. So religions are just another, uh, I don't want to say abstract, another creation. To bring it back to myself, like when I write my rhymes, when I make my songs, it's me. It's my story. So it's like I met this girl on the train. She was so insane. She looked really pretty. She looked really pretty. Her hair was plain. I asked her what her name was. She said it was Jane. I said, that's crazy. That's my friend who lives on the range. Anyway, we were talking, and then the train stopped. She said, if you are free, why don't me and you hook up? I said, I don't know. I just met. That's crazy because, and then my mind, because I heard this one story about this deranged person with a chainsaw who cut all the guys who came to her house after they. She said, no, that's not me. You got to believe, have faith. Besides, if you never come, you'll never know how it tastes. So that's like all my stories kind of go that way. Where other people, they might be like, fuck bitches and fuck, because, that's what they say. That's what I say. So if I made a religion, it would be that kind of. So yeah, but it's interesting. Um, well, it's scary too, because since we can make and since we could make our own religion, we could we create our own um, we create our own environment. So when you meet two people with opposing environments, I'm using environments, constructs, thoughts, ideas, conflict, yeah. Ever thought of trying to make a mainstream rap song, hoes, drugs, money? Uh, it wouldn't be relevant to me. I mean, there have to be some basis. Okay, let me put it this way. All right. One reason I didn't make those songs before because I wanted to be a role model. That was my thing. I want to be a role model. I want to show you don't have to talk about money, sex, hoes, money, sex, hoes. What? I think it's cash, money, cash, hoes. You don't have to talk about and be successful. That was my thing. And anyone who ever talked to me, and that was always in my lyrics, I'm going to school because selling drugs ain't cool. And if you get your degree, you'll be able to rule. But then the funny thing happened, nothing happened. Just because you don't rap about drugs and guns doesn't mean that anything good will come from that either. And then the same Jay-Z's a billionaire, right? And he goes around, hey, look at me, I'm giving out this much money, and people are like, you're such a great businessman. Now I like Jay-Z. I ain't trying to put him down like that, but it's not so much the message. It's who you are, what you do. So I didn't make songs about that then. Now I kind of feel I got nephews and nieces. I don't want them. Now I can't stop them to listen to what they listen to, but I don't want to ever make a song that they're listening to. So that's another one. Another thing is the fake it till you make it. Some of these rappers don't live the lifestyle. We know this, right? But I couldn't live like I would never put everything in this room. Like this is a piece of paper printed out on A3 size, black and white. Why is it black and white? Because I didn't want to pay the 80 cents to get the color. So I paid 10 cents, equivalent. Like I'm not fronting. I want to buy the sample pack today, right? I'm like, should I buy the sample pack or should I save the money for food? I'm not starving, but this is my reality. So for me to make that kind of music would be strange. It wouldn't fit my thing. But I know people went to college so they could sell drugs, use college money, but they got straight. Nah, man, it's what up, Black Diamond? Where you from? Where you from? We posting on the wall. Like it's just it it's the way you are. Like I grew up now. I grew up the way I grew up, so things like for me, I don't like seeing people who look like me in bad circumstances. It hurts my soul, like because Missouri. But yeah, I mean, when I was in college, I was basically doing this. Well, not this because there was no streaming and there was no YouTube. Yeah, I'm that old, right? But I was still like making videos and stuff. So I met this random. I was at a battle right around 8 Mile. So everyone's doing battle. So I'm at this battle. This dude's like, yo, your beats are dope. Can I come over to your studio? I'm like, sure. He comes over to the studio. He's like, I sell drugs. I sell packs. I sell da 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 da. And then he pulls out like this spliff. I don't know. He had weed. He was gonna smoke. I was like, you cannot smoke in this dorm. Cause I ain't trying to get kicked out of school. I don't smoke. I never want to be in a situation. So he's like, why you fucking being a pussy, man? I'm like, cause these are the rules. And he was a big dude, and he's all like threatening me. Like, dude, this is my spot. But clearly, he. I mean, Jay-Z said it best. He says, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business. But he says, if I could sell drugs, then I could. I sold kilos of crack. I sold kilos of crack. I'm not a businessman. I'm butchering it, but I sold kilos of coke. I'm guessing I could sell CDs. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. Handle my business. Damn, Kanye. And that's basically it. It's, when I went to business school, same idea. Just one is legalized and one is like these pharmaceutical companies, they raping people too. That dude who got locked up for raising the market price on the drug for I don't know the details. Martin, I believe, he bought the Wu Tang album. Yo, thank you. Um, he he he's ruthless. Al Capone, like, don't get me. You could get me started, but that shit is just so yeah. So for me, I want to be the light against the dark. So people are rapping about drugs. I'm rapping like, yeah, you can sell drugs, but you can also da 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 da. But uh, Missouri, Missouri Black. All right, and we got uh, California. California. I do want to go out there, man. I really, really do. I was actually going to live out there, California Jack. So before Japan was even a thing, the plan was after I graduate from college, I'm going to. I mean, the plan was after I graduated high school, I'm just going to live on the streets. Not live on the streets, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to become an artist. That was the plan. But then people got into my head and like, you got to go to college. Well, my brother was saying you must, and then that must is like I'm not going to do it. But my friend's grandma's like you should, and I'm like okay, I'll consider it, and I did. It's language. It's really about the way you say things, right? I'm learning that because I'm such a terrible person. I'm like the anti-motivator. Like I'm super motivating, but I have a way of being not motivating. I could see like but anyway, so his grandma's like, you should. So I did. And then I went to college. I'm like, when I finish college, I'm going to California and I'm just going to wait tables until I meet Brad Pitt. And then I'm just going to, but then Japan just kind of appeared, bam. And now I'm in Japan. For a little stint when I was doing MBA, I was like, I'm going to go to Brazil. Like that's how my mind works. It's just, doom, 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 doom. Actually, before the coronavirus, I was going to go to um, Europe. That was the plan. See how the see how they're living out there. Yo, Black Diamond, send me an email or something because I want to send you. I don't have much, but I want to send you something. I do appreciate that. I'll send you the 365 unless you don't have it, but I'll send you the link so you could download it. But I do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Man, quarantine. I mean, it's crazy, man. I and the headphones are gone. I had about 50, and I sold. No need love. I'm in Japan. I got my rickshaws, man. All right, thank you. I do appreciate that. I had the headphones. So this is. I mean, it's fate. Well, I gave up. But all right, when I started doing the headphones, that's when Beats by Dre started. I mean, he might have started way in advance, but when we both kind of came to light at the same time. And I remember I was in business school because I just had my headphones. I'm like, yeah, headphones. And I was talking to my student, and the student, the guy who reads books, he's like 60 something, almost retired. So, and I always say he was teaching me more than I was teaching him. But I told him, headphones, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know. And I was like, all right, check this out. I told the my classmates, people are starting to buy Beats by Dre. Because you remember back in the day, we all had those cheap ass headphones. Then iPhone came out and everyone had the little white buds. So the big ass over the ears were only DJs, rappers, producers, and then weird people and audiophiles, right? So I'm like, yeah, people are starting to get these. And everyone's like, not really. People don't really wear big headphones. And they're like talking down on me. And I'm like, the fuck they ain't. I didn't say it like that, but because I was watching, I'm looking like, oh shit, that 13-year-old has these big ass Beats by Dre. I bet she doesn't even know who Dr. Dre is. What that old man? And at the time, I was like, yo, can you ask my girlfriend, can you ask that dude what he's listening to? Because I know for a fact he ain't listening to no California love. So she'd go like tap on his shoulder. He's like, hey, did she say in Japanese? What do you listen to? And then he'd be like, I'm listening to Beethoven or some shit. So people are starting to change the way they are listening to music because of the promotion that they're doing. So then, my headphones kind of fit in there, but the quality, because eventually my brother got me the competition for Christmas. Like them shits were nice. They had the nice plush and the little boxes all. So mine couldn't really compare. But then I had this really crazy insight. So it was Christmas time. So I had the gift that they gave me, these headphones, and then I had my headphones on the table. So my nephew, who was like 7, he picks up the Beats by Dre and he puts them on. Then he picks up Uncle Matthew's headphones. He put them on. And he's like, I like these. And he's 7. He's not even trying to. You don't get extra points from Matthew. He's so he liked it. And then for the rest of the day, he's just rocking them. He's sitting in the corner doing his thing with my headphones. So it's not even the. It's like the marketing. If I could have been, if my face was in the right place enough times, people would just start. Anyway, so I kind of let that die out. The headphones. Plus, I got the greatest fans or whatever because I believe a lot of the headphones started to break and have some defective parts, and I hit up the manufacturer in China. I was like, listen, my headphones broke. I want a refund on all the headphones, and they're like, well, we can't do that because we can't. However, if you want to send all of them back on your dime, we may consider it. So I don't got that Apple Beats by Dre power to push. So it's scary because if some people who don't really fuck with me like that got the product and it broke on them, they would want a refund, and I'm not built for refunds. I don't have that. I didn't think that. I thought, you know, excuses. I could have, would have, should. But I thought if I order something from a company, they're going to give good quality shit. And I know it's from China, but everything's from China. This Apple was probably made in China. But yeah. So yeah, that's the headphone thing. But I do want to do, and then I got some more headphones. But that's when the little super small Bluetooth ones started to become in and cheap. So now, who wants to have this big thing when you can have those little things, and the prices were getting crazy and all that shit. Is that a real Apple? Nah, this is So as you know, or maybe you don't know, I do photography, and in the beginning I was doing like kind of like an Adam and Eve theme. So I used to buy apples for every shoot, right? Buy apples, and the models touching them and it drops. So no, well, some models be like, "Can I eat it?" Like, okay, sure. But apples in Japan are expensive. Like, I'm adjusting for it. So maybe in the States, an apple's like 80 cents or 90 cents or $1. In Japan, it's like $2, 2.50, and then it's not even like the good crunchy. It's more like this soft. So I'm spending all this money. I mean, $2 per apple, and I'm doing shoots. So eventually, I just started getting this fake apple, and the models be all like trying to bite it all up and shit. Like it's not real. It's not. But yeah, story of this apple. Had it for like 4 years. Yeah, it's been a minute. 4 years for that apple. Ah, yeah. So, oh, another reason I had this notepad. So, um, you can't see it on this side, but I put everything, all my ideas, on the wall, and I'm letting like sometimes they fall down because they just do, and then I pick it up, and that will be something I must focus on. It's a different type of uh, GTD strategy, get it done strategy. So anyway, um, please give me some ideas about what now when. Well, let's say this month I bought a mirrorless a few years ago. Pretty amazing quality of pictures it could take. Yes, sir. I didn't want no. Well, now I want a film camera because that's just weird. I had this little, but now I want to go backwards. All right, let me finish this thought before I forget. So, if you give me an idea, I'm gonna write it down on this paper and I'm gonna stick it on the wall, and then I'm gonna try to work these into, what the. So basically, things I need some ideas and insight with is, what do you guys want to see on the channel? Um, What can I improve? Yeah, yeah, but I ain't perfect. So what can I improve on this? Um, and just other stuff, and write it down. Yeah, mirrorless. It's great. It's great. I've loved. I think I've been taking pictures about 5 years, and I still enjoy going out there and taking pictures. And then you could change the lenses. Like I started playing. I discovered that you can get different lenses, right? Or you could rent different lenses. I know you can get it, but I found I could rent them, so I started renting macro lenses and like those super telephoto lenses. I took one out to Okinawa, and I'm all like sitting in there waiting for the bird to come up, and like, and then it's not the camera, but it's an infrared. It's a one camera. An infrared camera costs to rent. I think like $500 for like a day or so. And I just want to take pictures of that. We're gonna show. Watch on. Have you ever experienced any racism since COVID? China, they're kicking the foreigners out. Africans. Um, nah. I mean, Japan is Japan. Oh, all right. Racism is everywhere, right? I mean, I heard in the States that some people are really being not nice to Asian Americans and Chinese people, Asians and all that. So it's everywhere. In Japan, I mean, this happened. Like, I didn't. On my Facebook feed, I follow a lot of people, and when they start getting on my nerves with their posts, I unfeed them, unfollow them. But I just met someone, and anyway, so I didn't have a chance to unfeed him because they didn't break my law, right? Don't complain about random shit too much. Anyway, so he posts just back to back. It's like, yeah, I was on a train and the person stood up. Okay. It's because I was black. Oh. And the whole time they're staring at me and they're just telling this story, which I can't. I wanted to write. Did they really stand up and stare at you the whole time? But I don't know. Maybe it did happen. Maybe it didn't. But are you so fragile that that's? But maybe you are. I have no say on it. And then he just goes on and on. And then underneath it, all mutual friends and people I don't know, they're just like, oh yeah, fuck them, fuck them. And then people who don't live in Japan, like, yeah, fuck all of, like they're just like that's not. Now there is some. I so here, all right. So I have a feeling. Now I could be wrong, but there's this convenience store that I go to get bread every morning when I was going to work, going to school. So everyone's kind of they're not friends with me, but they do it. But there's this one staff that don't smile, they don't do this. And yo, Jerry, word. Where you from? I'm right in the states or places on the board. To be fair, Japan is a secular place. Society comes to race. Well, like it's complicated. Like my ex girlfriend. The world's oldest. All right, we're gonna get to that one. Show. All right. All right. Let's come back up here. Okay. It's complicated. So my ex girlfriend back in the day, her mom, her mom said that when the war was happening or after around the war, one of the soldiers gave her chocolate, and she remembered that moment. So then meeting me, she was just like, yeah, and you smell nice, like that kind of thing. But I could imagine if she experienced during the wartime a soldier like beat her dad right in front of her, like some tragic shit. I'm pretty, I'm pretty sure it would have that kind of, it would, life is like just random like that. So there's some people who love foreigners and some people who don't. Just like I like certain types of people and I don't really like me. I try to be positive. It's hard for me. It's not. I don't. It's hard. I don't go around. The sun will come out. It's hard for me. I know the sun will come out, and I'm looking forward to the sun. But it's hard for me. I have to work on it. But there's some people who are just they're just on like that, and they're just our vibrations don't vibrate well because they want to like it's in their they want to make me be up. I just want them to be normal. You know what I mean? And then we just fight each other on that. And then I gotta dig into like, you fucking don't know me, because it gets. And I know what they're trying to do, and it. Ugh. But moving on. All right. Uh, secular. So yeah. So I teach kids, age 2 and up, right? It's just a part time thing. I don't think I could do that like full time, but I do, right? So I'm teaching these kids. And some kids, little 2 year olds, they'll come in there and they'll just like, first day they're kind of little, but then the next day they're sitting on my lap. And I don't want no kids sitting on my lap. So I got to like push them off. Cause I, especially now, because this was quarantine, like around Corona time, I don't want them coughing in my face and shit. But just in general, I don't want them. Like one kid, this is before Corona times. He comes up to me and he's like laying his like this on my arm, and when he comes up, there's all this snot. That shit's gross, man. Little, but I love my kids. They're cute. But then there's other kids who it doesn't matter how long we are in the class together. They're just scared. They're just. I mean, 2 weeks ago I was subbing for another teacher, and the kid come. I come in. I'm in the room. The kid comes in, and he's like, so he's saying in Japanese, scary. Kawaii. You might have heard kawaii. He's saying kawaii, which means scary. But he's not saying it like kawaii. He's saying Texas. But he's saying it like he's really scared of me. And he's sitting in the corner just like scared and I'm trying to like, whatever and play it off. But what the fuck you scared about? I'm not clear like and the teacher before me is a black teacher too. So it's not even cuz you're I don't know, but and he's just doing this the whole time. Scary. Now he's speaking in Japanese and I understand Japanese. So it's like you're going to talk shit about me and I could but I'm an adult. I'm trying to like if this was my class, I would do some. Everyone gets an apple. You get an apple. You get an apple. You get an apple. But I'm scary. You don't. I know we shouldn't do that, and I did. I didn't. But I would do some. I'm not scary. If you want this apple, come get it. And it gets a little close, like ah. But yeah. So that whole class, my whole thing was off because, like, I get a little conscious, like, shit. Am I scary? Is there something wrong with my face? But what I didn't do is hop onto social media like today this little kid Japanese kid said I was scary. It's because it would just start to spread the seeds of negativity. Because then people would start chiming, yeah, this happened to me and this happened. I would rather the opposite. People, but yeah, but we're human. We're human. We all kind of have this thing. So yeah, even before. But I mean, my experience. Plus, I be safe out there. I'm trying Louisiana. Yeah, we almost over there. That'd be so crazy if I can get all 50 states or someone from Pennsylvania. But it'd be probably. Nah, I know what you mean. Let's see. Louisiana. Yo, I was a student that always spelled all the states wrong. I live in Pennsylvania, and I still sometimes when I write on the blackboard, I gotta like I just put PA because I ain't butchering my own state. But yeah, so coming back up here, we got Texas, we got this. We coming. Yo, Kindergarten Cop. I saw it with my mom. I remember. I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger with my mom just after Terminator 1 came out because he was on his run doing his thing. So we watched that. I think That might be the only movie that I watched with my parents. I don't think I ever watched a movie with my. Now, my parents are from Jamaica, which doesn't really matter because in Japan, I've met a lot of Jamaicans and they seem to be living. Like, I just assumed that all Jamaicans are just this way because I have a Jamaican family. But I'm meeting them like, oh yeah, we go out to this, just and we do this, and we all come up in there. We just, but not my family. We we didn't have Christmas in my family. I mean, we went to church, and one year I petitioned for a tree. There was my friend TJ. It's crazy the things you remember. I could remember TJ. I haven't spoke to him in like forever, 30 years, 20 years, 25 years. I don't even. I'm not even checking. You know, some people you be like checking on Facebook to see if they're well, if they're good or whatever. My crush, Lisa Badway, because I'm Matthew Bailey. She sat in front of me every year until they started segregating. Would it be called segregating? Until they started separating us by brain power. So she went off to the honors classes, and so one day I checked up on her to see if Lisa was still. And she wasn't really beautiful in the sense like, oh my gosh, she wasn't a cheerleader and all that. She was just the girl who sat in front of me, and I just happened to be, yeah. But man, I inception myself. Went down, 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 down. Oh yeah, TJ. So up, up, up. So TJ, I was at his house putting up the tree, and they're like, "Hey Matthew, do you have a tree at your house? Are you guys putting one up?" I said, "No, we don't do that at our family." And that was like, they're folks that think that everyone should have a tree, and they're, "Oh my gosh, that is a travesty." And then I left, and then they would probably sat around conspiring. We got to do something for him. We got to give him a Christmas miracle. So then they bought another tree, and then they gave us their old tree. So I the morning I woke up, and then we opened the door, and there's this tree in a box on our porch. And then my mom said, "Take that shit and throw it in the trash. We do not take, we don't take handouts." So then I stole a light because I was trying to do MacGyver back in the day. So I took some lights from the tree to like do some things. And then my mom saw the lights. He's like, "Pick that shit and put it in the garbage." So then we bought a tree for 1 year. And then the whole time my dad's like, "You're wasting electricity. Electricity. I don't understand why we're wasting electricity. We burn it." And then the next year, the tree never came back. And that was, I mean, one time my parents worked at night, the night shift. So my job was to wake my mom up so she could go to work. So I'm sitting in front of the tree just looking at the lights flash, and I fell asleep like bam. And then my mom comes down and she's like, "You forgot to wake me up." Like I got hypnotized by the lights. But yeah, that was the first and last time I ever had a tree in my life, and that's going back to the fact that my Jamaican family was really different from the Jamaicans I'm meeting in Japan because they're just, yeah, we did. They could be lying. I don't know. All right, where we at? Black culture. Do Japanese high school bear any resemblance to animes in school? Yes, they're one to one. It'd be like, are the I don't want to say it's, but the ghettos of America like the ghettos we see in TV movies? Yeah, basically. You know, do gangs actually? It'd be like, now most of the Japanese people that I work with or meet are not really into hip hop culture like that because they're teachers and whatever. Now there's some teachers who do it, but they when we're at school they act like they don't do that with them outside of school. They do anyway. So if they were to say, is it do black people or young people really keep their pants below their ass and kind of walk like they can't pull it up? And I would say, yes, and I did the same. I remember my dad pulled my pants down in the middle of the street because he was trying to make a point. And yeah, so yeah, it is. Reality is reflecting art. Art's reflecting art. But I would think animes on TV are much better. Or like, there's no hot water in the schools. So in the wintertime, kids got to clean. It sucks to be them. They're used to it. But when I go to the bathroom and I'm trying to wash my hand, I ain't trying to wash my hand with ice. But that's all there is. You got in the teacher's room. We got a heater, but the bathroom's here, and you're gonna be all like, your music doesn't fall apart. Overheard headphones for me. Ah, look it up. So yeah, but it's stylized, you know. But the basics is the same. It's really plain. I went to one school where they actually had a satellite link to one of the astronauts. At one point, maybe I don't know. This is a while back, but there was a Japanese astronaut in space, and this school had the capabilities to talk to them. Like they had a whole media thing way before, yeah. But most schools are pretty. I mean, now they're starting to have like iPhones for the iPads for the students, but it's pretty basic. You know, you'd be lucky. I mean, it depends on your school. The last school I was at, we had a dope printer where I could use a little USB. So I was printing out these beautiful full color shit. You wouldn't be. The nail that sticks up gets hammered. That's an interesting concept because it's true, but it's not true. It's how to say this. So when I was doing business class or when I was in MBA, they had all these cases where, like for example, back in the day they used to make bikes, but they used to make bikes in pieces. So one family would make the gears, the little sprocket thing, and one family would make the chain, and one family would make the frame. So different families, and then they all come together and they make this bike. So one family or one dude's like, if we made an integrated circuit, we would be able to da 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 da. Now he's fucking up their money because if he's gonna, so then that's what they did. That's what the family did, and he kind of put those families out of business. Now he was the nail that stood up, and they try to hammer him down like you can't do that. You can't. It's not the way we do things. That's a Japan thing. It's not. But he persisted, and then now this is crazy because the point of the lesson, this business case, is you must stand up and be different. But it's easier said than done, especially in a country like this. Oh, anywhere, but in the countries where it's. But I say this because there's a lot of people who stand up. Like in every class, there's a class clown, and he stands up literally to like this one little shithead. But I like him. I love him. He's great. So he one day I came to the classroom. He's like, "Hey, you should be more excited." I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You should be." "Wah!" And he's doing this in front of the class, so he's not this shy, sheltered Japanese. He's just a regular old kid being goofy. He's like, "Ah!" And I hate when he would do this because now the whole class is watching what I'm gonna say, and then watching him, and then he's waiting. All right, he's like, "You gonna do it?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Now everyone's watching, and he's like, "Ah." And he just kept as the years. I taught him for 3 years, so every year he just get more and more bolder. At one point, like he must have been 15, 14 now, the last year. So he gets up to go behind me. So I'm standing. He has to go behind me. Now he doesn't have to. He can go in front of me, but he chooses to go behind me. He goes behind me and he hits my butt. Now I wasn't expecting this because in general, this school they had great kids. They were trying to do one of these things up in there. So then he sits down and he's like, so it's not funny, but so he goes, "Yeah, I just harassed the teacher." So, oh, you did now. So he, because I thought it was an accident. He willfully did it. But yeah, I could imagine where in his life, if he keeps the same character, he's going to get, the attention. He's standing up. He's going to attract things because of his nature. Now, I don't know if it's because that's how his parents are, or his genetics, or he's just mentally like that. But yeah, it's. I mean, I guess with all sayings, there's always some wiggle room. You could stand, you just got to stand in the right way, you know? Like, I'm pretty smart. But if I let people, if I, so, certain ways, like, certain ways could make people feel uncomfortable. Other ways could make people feel good, you know, whatever. So if you, the trick is how do you do it so they don't, which at one point at business school, I was like, you know, I'd rather you teach us how to be, how to, how to, because when I was doing business school, I started learning all this stuff, and I would go back to people like, no, this is not the way to do it because the market size, and I'm just throwing all these terms at them, thinking they would be like, oh wow, thank you. But most of them like, nah, we're good, we don't care. And then a couple weeks, couple years later, it'd be like, oh wow, this is what we should do. Like, but I said that, and this, I'm not even taking like I'm a genius because I'm not. I just that's what the teacher told me. Then I digested it, and then I came back, and this is what I'm saying to you. I'm just regurgitating what was said with my little twist on it, and they were shutting me down. So yeah. So, but to answer your question, there's a lot of people in Japan, like the comedians that do. I have a pen. I have an apple. Ugh. He just made one about wash. I have a soap. I have a hand. Wash, 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 wash. Like he's not normal in the sense he's standing out. He's like I could imagine from when he was born, he was always standing up to do his thing. But yeah, let's see. You're coming down here. Yeah, overhead. I don't know the little iPods. They're generic for most people's ears. They do not fit in my ear. I mean, they fit, but they fall out. And then when I'll be doing anything, it's like fall out, fall out. So I need this is better, or I need something molded to my ear. They're like $400 for one of those sets. Anime. Do I watch anime? Um, I for the most part I don't watch anything. I try not to. Um, but as far as anime goes, I just saw Tortoro, if that counts. Well, the thing is, I would watch anything if I'm sitting. Like this is how I got hooked on Friends and Seinfeld and Sex in the City and my mom's soap operas, All in the Family and As the World Turns. If I'm sitting there and the TV's on and I'm like not doing anything, I get hooked and I start wanting to watch it. And I don't like this kind of watching because I didn't want to watch it, so I avoid. So animes, they're like endless. Like if I start to watch One Piece, there's like 8 billion episodes, and the way I watched it, I need to finish. So it's gonna be like so One Piece, Dragon Ball. Um, I I always say Sailor Moon because when I was growing up, it happened to come on TV. It was like the first anime that was there, right before Pokemon. For me, it was Sailor Moon. So I want to watch it because, and I heard they just made a new series or updated it. But I just, for me, I want to watch things. All right, cool, 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 cool. Man, as far as the internet, I wonder what I'm screaming from. I'm trying to get like the high speed something, but every time I try to like, we gotta drill a hole in here. Wow, look at me freezing at me. I'm looking at myself frozen, frozen. But eventually you're gonna. As soon as I can get high speed, I could do some crazy shit where I could like switch between angles and cameras and all that. But with this is what we got. Parents teach them. I I think it's genetic. I mean, it's a mix of things. Like we learn from our parents. Like when I now when I go home, I see my father's son and my mother's son. I could see how they deal with things. So I have my father's stubbornness. I don't think he ever sat down and taught me this is the way to be stubborn. I just seen this is what he does. And then I saw my mom the way she is. And then there's people you avoid. I'll never be like that person, so you go out of your way. You mix it. Because I teach some students who they can speak English, which is, we're in Japan. but their parents don't speak English. Like I meet them and they're just like, "Hello, I am so son or father. I do not speak English." But their son is like, "Hey man, how you doing?" So I don't know why they can speak English. They just do. Most of my girlfriends are in that case. They just naturally picked it up from whatever methods or things. But I don't know. It's a mix of stuff, the way you are. Like me, I always been rhyming since I could remember. The earliest, we must be contagious. The whole world looks at us that way. I mean, we are. Well, let me put a metaphorical pin on that one. But I just lost it. Let me take the pin out. Pop, pop. I mean, one thing that's crazy is like I just finished reading a book about um the business. Well, it was an audio book. I like to clarify. I didn't read it. I listened to it, but whatever. So it was 20 hours, man. So that's what I did the first couple. Well, just anyway. So I finished the book, and he was like, he kept saying, "Yeah, it's not a hip hop book. It's just a straight everything you need to know about the music business. Period. It's not to any one top genre." But he kept saying, "Yeah, hip hop." He'd be like this. He'd be like, "So if you're in this," so he's like naming prices. Um, he's naming prices. So he'll say, if you're in this category, if you do classical music, you could get this much money as a producer. But if you do hip hop, you can get, the price was like way bigger. But here's the crazy thing is, if hip hop is making so much money, right? We're making so much money. Then why are rappers dying still? Like, why is that still a thing? If there's so much money to be made, then why is that happening? So I think, yeah, there's money being made, but we're not the ones making it. Like, this is direct sales, right? Here's my tape. You want it, buy it. I get 100% of that. And then what I do with that is what I do with it. But the way this contract book is written out is like the company's going to take this and they're going to get paid before. So you end up with the artist getting like a penny, even though they sold 1 million copies. And then they won't get paid till 9 months after the fact. So they still got to live where they live. They don't have to, but they happen to be where they are. And then you got like, and this is being pumped out from, it is. So yeah, people would fear it. So they get killed. Well, it's like it's the most like it is it is the most fascinating thing for me because where I'm from, there's I had a friend die from a rival gang. In my high school, they had lockdown because I was late that morning. I woke up late, had to walk to school. When I came to school, it was quiet, like Corona virus snowing out in the hallway, quiet. And then I get into there, and then it's like, yeah, there was a gang war, this gang and this gang, and they're like, there was knives and all that shit. So that's where I come from. But you will never hear those lyrics in outside some introspective rap. But I ain't gonna claim I was in this set. No, but if you were, because I have friends who were in rival gang A around, you're talking what you know, and then if you do, as you progress along with your career, these are your boys. And I mean, Atlanta did a kind of, uh, it was an interesting way they portrayed it. That's the only kind of hip hop movie drama I would care to watch. But he got jumped. Like, if I'm, if you know I have money in my pocket, and if, 2 years ago I was doing this beat battle, right? And I won, and they made this kind of this check that had 250. It was two. So in yen, 25,000 yen. But it's just like a big check. So I won it. I posted on Facebook. I went home for Christmas, and then my mom's like, "Wow, you got to be careful. People out here think you won $25,000." Your cousin was saying you better watch out. Really, cousin? Cousin saying this? I mean, and it's my favorite cousin. But there was a time when it was like I'm walking the streets to go to the CVS convenience store, and I pass a group of people, and they all jumped off the porch and started to move closer to me. And then I look up and like, hey cousin, what's going on? Because it's my favorite cousin. Like, oh shit, yo, we're about to jump you. So the music doesn't change all that. They were rapping, I was rapping. It would have happened at any level. I mean, it's mentality and all that shit. But I guess the point what I would say is if we took control of the music on some Prince shit, but then even if I say Prince, he was petty. I mean, I don't know Prince like that, but I do know him and Michael Jackson weren't the best of friends because they're just kind of like this is. I mean, I don't know the backgrounds, but imagine if those two came together, two giants of our culture. They might have sprinkled onto Biggie and Tupac, but instead we're always like, again, human. But it's, man, I have no insight. I wasn't here or there. I'm just whatever. But and it's hard. I've been in situations where the locals didn't like me. Did they actually jump you? Nah, they didn't jump me. I've never been jumped. Well, they saw who I was. Hey, what's up, Matthew? But if for whatever reason I was just in this way, they would have. It, I don't know. It'd been fucked up. Like, yo, we jumped. What retribution is there? I got jumped by my cousins. Oh, we didn't know it was you. Sorry. I mean, I guess one way to look at it is, you get jumped into gangs. I would have been unofficially jumped into a gang. Then I could claim a set. But yeah, But yeah, it just it is what it is. Um, we must be amazing. The whole planet fears us. I mean, our, I mean, there is so much. I mean, the other day I was reaching out to a friend of mine, and he we got into this conversation, and it was a weird conversation. And the Instagram, we were talking on Instagram, and it just no, we're talking on what were we talking? Instagram, maybe. It just kind of cut off, and we never continued that conversation. But it was just one of these. We just have different ways of seeing things, and we're just not fighting, just clashing on these things. Like he said, like he said something like this. He said, in Japan, they will never be able to replicate hip hop because they are not from here being the States. And I hate those kind of statements because one, I, I was gonna go into a spiel. I was like, you just got to come here. You have to see it with your own eyes because they are doing something that is amazing. They they being Japanese hip hop folk are taking hip hop and it's amazing because I've been here for 12 years. I saw when I got here, they were all like, it was weird. I didn't like it, but now it's wow. They're like it's like the Japanese Kendrick Lamar's and the Japanese J Cole's, and then their own like they're talking their shit, and then around the world, hip hop is kind of being the because hip hop like if you want to be in a band, you got to know how to play your little guitar and all that shit. But if you're doing hip hop, all you need to do is speak. You don't even need music. And it traveled around the world, and it's always been struggle music. And most countries have some group that is disenfranchised. So they take hip hop and they turn it into their. Now, of course, there's the commercial shit, and there's people making money from. But then there was a guy many years back. He was on stage. Like there's the first group came on. They looked like Rin Tin from Brown Sugar. They're all like, they clearly were influenced by Puff and Mace. So they come out there in fur coats and are all like just throw your hands in the air. It was like weird. The next guy came on, and next guy. Then the last guy came on. He was on some most deaf shit. Like he was just on some. And the governments of Japan. Now I don't know what he was saying because he's saying in Japanese, but you could see that when he was speaking, like turn off the sound when you hear most deaf rapping, and you see the people watching him, most deaf, Guru, Talib, I, most deaf, but actually we're gonna take Talib out of there because but you can see when people are saying some shit and when people are responding to it. And I was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, "Yo," and she's like, "Yeah, he's really talking that shit." I mean, she doesn't talk like that, but like he was really talking some deep things about the government and corruptions, and I could feel it, like the music goes. So yeah, so I was kind of upset that my friend would say that they can't do it because they are doing it. It is no different than when black folk were in the states and or just the whole conversation. At one point, the IQ was rigged to say that black folks are not smart enough. Obviously, because look at the IQ, the thing. We're not there. And then black people, like there was always someone saying black folk can't do this and they can't do that, but we could. So I just take that to I expand it to women. A woman can be a president. A woman can do X. Like there is no easier said than done. Man, I want to say all governments are corrupt. Like I it I mean power, but I think certain countries it's built in. Like our country was built on. I don't like it, so I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna march, and I'm gonna kill you. But then eventually it got to you legally can't kill them anymore. So this, but other countries they never had that. It's like countries with kings and queens and dictators. That's it might have worked at some point in time, or that was the way it was. But to go to the opposite side, like America is interesting in that experiment because we're one of the first. I think so. Don't quote me here, but I believe we're one of the first countries to start with that. Would you ever go back to the states? Yo, Edward, where you from? I'm right in states. So far, it's only been states, but states and places on my board. Would I ever go back to the states? I mean, I'm American. I'm although every time I go back home, it feels weirder and weirder. Like the fact that Jerry Springer, I mean, he's always been a judge, right, or a lawyer or whatever, but the fact that he got his own show, like the fact that there's a whole bunch of these shows that's going on is amazing. It's scary to me because I think that is like a one way that is numbing our sense. Like, so yeah, when I go home, these things are even more apparent. Now, if I never left Japan, it'd just be as is, just whatever. So I think if I do go home, like the reverse process is going to be tough. A lot of people that I've talked to or heard from, they said when they go back from Japan, but I think probably every place in the world, if it's like so different. But I do want like what I want. So this is the plan. This is the idea. So I want to be in Japan. I want to get my little Grammy, my little plaque to put on the wall, and that's one of my goals. Hey, look, I got a plaque. It sold like 500,000 gold, something like that. And that's not even a big thing anymore because people going multi platinum. But I just want a little gold plaque on the wall. I want to clean up my finances. Like I want to pay off all my debts and shit. So when I step onto the soil of America, I am at zero. Actually, I want to have some money like in the bank. It's like bam. Then, so I want to teach in America. I want to teach not at some like gangster's paradise type school because I'm not built for that. But maybe in my own school, but it is kind of like that. We had metal detectors when I was on the way out, but just teach. And I want to teach them on some Mr. Carter shit. Like, listen, man, I never seen Mr. Carter, but I believe he said something along these lines. Like, listen, your little friends. All right, we're gonna get down there. But Hakeem, where you from? Florida. All right, cause I'm writing these on the board. So I want to teach them the shit that Florida, Florida, Florida. So I remember, like as I get old, as I'm growing older, I do think some teachers are trying to teach us that real shit. Like, right now you're worried about being in prom. Well, I was never worried about being. I wasn't even worried about going to the prom, but you're worried about being cool and your peer group and your friends, and it's important. But when you leave those doors, there's college life, which is important. But when you leave those doors, there's real life, which is important because there's all these different levels to shit. And I wish a teacher would say, listen, um, it's important that you get good grades, but it's also important that you understand yourself and what you're made of, or it's important that you know how to navigate through life. It's important that you have options. You can do A, but this is the consequences. You could do B. Like if they laid it out that way. Now I don't know if it would have worked anyway because I was a little arrogant. Actually, no, I was particular. Like if you shouted at me as a teacher, it never worked. And that's one way of talking to students. You shout at them, or you talk down to me. That never worked. It was the teachers who talked to me. Hey, you got a red pen? That's pretty dope. But that's patronized. But you know what I mean. They're talking to you as a person, not as. I mean, we're students, but anyway. So I want to be that kind of teacher. Like, listen, I know it's crazy out here, and it's probably going to keep getting crazy out here. But you have options. Fuck, I'm from here, but I lived in Japan for like 15 years, 20 years. Listen, I'm only teaching here because I want to. I don't need the job. So anytime I don't like it, I'm out. Like this is the kind of position, the leverage I want to have. I don't want to work because I have to. I want to work because I want to. That way I could teach kids um, what they need to know because there's so much shit. New York, New York. So yeah, I do plan to go back to the States, but I do want to see the world because I want to bring that to like, man, thank you. No, but I mean that's the plan. The only thing is, I wish this could happen like overnight, so I could like, because my dad's 85, my mom's 60. I want them to see this transformation. I, I mean, they could see it from where they are, but I mean, they're alive now. But I would like to do all that. All right, let's see here. Da-da-da. Don't be a nail in on both sides of the step. That's a new one. Don't be a nail on in. But we could also say some that I actually stepped on a nail when I did it twice, but it's so weird because like way I don't remember, but one time I remember I stepped on like a straight nail on the board, just stepped on it and nothing happened. Life went on. I no blood came out. It's weird. And the second time I was in the basement and I stepped on a screw nail. And I remember hopping up the steps, hop, hop, hop. And my mom was on the phone, and I didn't say anything. I'm just hopping around like hop, 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 hop. And she like yelling at me, and I was like, so I sat down. And I'm like, I don't know. I was sit down, and she said, "What's wrong?" I was like, "There's a nail in my foot." That she pulled it out, but it was weird. At both times, it didn't hurt. But yeah, so maybe stepping on a nail is a good thing. But don't be stepping on any nails anytime soon. Yeah. All right. Only 989 are close for One Piece. What do I miss most about the states? Books. It's crazy because I mean now I can get most of my books on Amazon, but it'd be like it'll take 3 weeks, 5 days. I want my book tomorrow. So I was going to get some Ableton books, but it says it's going to take what 7 days. But if I would have ordered it, I would have got it today. But when I go home, I go to Barnes Barnes and Nobles, and I just that's like the first I go home. Hey mom, hey dad, and then I go to Barnes and Nobles, and I just get all the books that I just sit there and I'm reading. So the books, um, my junk food. I mean, maybe it's a good thing. I don't eat a lot of junk foods because I can't buy it in Japan. When I go home, I give myself I forget the word, but shock. 'Cause I eat so many junk foods that my stomach's just like get all. Yeah, I miss my family. I miss that I'm not a presence. I feel. I mean, I guess I feel this way. Maybe it's not true, but if I'm not there, people kind of forget about me. So my influence or my I don't know if it's true because my nephew, he's going to engineering school to do engineering, music engineering. Which when I used to babysit him, I go there all the time. Well, there's one. Well, when I used to babysit my nephew, I would always play my music in the car on the tape, and I remember the one song. It was like this. The song was oompa oomp. It's. Do I have it? Do I have? Let's see. Is it on here? Nah, it wouldn't be on here. Actually, it would be on here. Okay, let's see if I could pull it up. Look at that. I did it. Give me a bone. Or don't give me a bone. All right, let me find a spot. Maybe I could just play it. But yeah, I was playing this song, which I'm going to play in a second. And I'm just doing, like, this was my beat. I'm like, dum, 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 dum. And when I looked back, like, he was maybe 3 or 4 years old or something. He was like, his mouth, like he couldn't speak it, but he's just doing the oompa, oompa, oompa. And then my brother's like, he's always saying that song. So maybe that was kind of influence. That's the crazy thing about influence. You never, the lines are all over the place. All right, where is this? I want the beat. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, here it is. All right, let me turn that up. All right, here we go. So this is a little intermission, but this is the song I was playing that may or may not have influenced my nephew to go off into engineering school. Yeah, yeah. I don't like the loompa. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the loompa. 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 Loompa, loompa. Yeah. So I was playing that song, and yeah, and that song it was when I made that song, I was just like, wow, this is just too dope. I couldn't write to it for like a month. I'm just sitting there trying to get the best. But anyway, have I ever been to the bookstore? Yes, it's in Shinjuku. I go out there all the time. I think I bought all my Japanese books there. So yeah. Sometimes your water is deeper than blood, sir. What is deeper than blood? Let me think about that. Sometimes your water is deeper than blood. Blood is thicker than water. That's the opposite. Blood is thicker than water. Sometimes your water is deeper than blood. Hmm. I gotta chew on that one. Chew on that one. Yeah, Willy Wonka. Yeah, Willy Wonka. So at one point, but I think it's an arc. So producers, rappers, because right now, if you were to jump on the YouTube, you see a whole bunch of people sampling SpongeBob and whatever the cartoons or the things of the day. Jay Z sampled Annie, because that's probably what he watched when he was a kid. Coco Brothers sampled Mario, do 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 do, like that one. So Willy Wonka was my childhood. I sampled it. Now I can't prove it. I ain't on some conspiracy shit, but I made that song, and then finally I wrote to it, and it was on a CD. Yeah, a CD. And at Temple University, my school I was going to, they had this street kind of everyone's out there on the street. So then I'm walking, and everyone's like, "Yo, shit, that's Mob Deep or Havoc." Maybe it was both of them, but I think it's Havoc or Project. I don't know. It's one of the two. We'll just say it was Mob Deep. So I go over there, me, because I had the CDs on me. I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm a producer." Da, 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 da. And I gave him the song. Boom. Now, I did that to Fat Joe. I did that to Beanie Siegel. I did that to one of the boys from NSYNC, maybe Lance. I'm not sure. And the result is, what are they gonna do? They're gonna they're gonna take the song and give it to their record label and call me up. But I was hopeful and whatever. So anyway, mumble rap. Yo, all right. So it seems because eventually I heard that song on the radio, not the song, but the sample itself. I want to say that Mob Deep gave it to someone, and then I think it was. Well, I kept hearing it after that fact, but maybe it's everyone kind of. I didn't invent the movie. I didn't, but yeah. Let's see here. Mumble rap. Oh, my friend, like when I was growing up, I was the first to have a little studio in the house, whatever. And I would invite everyone to come over to rap. The only thing is, I didn't swear, so you couldn't swear, and I don't talk about drugs, so you can't talk about drugs. But I was the only one with a studio, and it was free, so people would come over and they would adhere to those things. And if you didn't, I would just like cut them out anyway. So anyway, this one a younger, he was like maybe 3 grades below me. He came to the studio, and he was doing his thing. He had a dope voice. But my brother's like, I can't hear what he's saying. He's mumbling. Because at that time, that was bad to mumble. Like if you couldn't articulate. Now, with that being said, who that's how most people sung that song. We're mumbling. We did not know the words. Uncle Charlie. But it was okay then. And then when Buster Rhymes would do his thing, stop. Like we mumbled. So I think it was only just well, this is I should be on that show Complex.